Today we are going to talk about the historic tribes of Arkansas. We had talked about the prehistoric tribes, and now we're going to move on into the historic tribes. We're going to talk about the Osage and the Caddo, and we're going to talk about the Quapaw and learn a little bit about each one. We're going to start with the Osage. They actually lived in Missouri, but they hunted in northwest Arkansas, up around where Fayetteville and Springdale and all those little towns are. They were Native Americans they were tall and they had tattooed bodies and they were real strong. Each person belonged to a clan, and a clan were people that lived close together in their tribe. The Osage women would plant gardens, and the men would skin and clean and dry the meat and prepare the animal hides. The Osage fought with the Caddo and the Quapaw over hunting grounds and trade rights and that kind of thing. Their strength brought lots of fear to the European travelers that came to this country to discover and to explore the things in this land. The Osage would hunt and they would trade in that area of northwest Arkansas. Their environmental interactions was they were skilled hunters. They would hunt for buffalo and deer and elk. And hunting was more important to them than growing crops or food. The Caddo were located in the southwest corner of Arkansas. They also had tattooed bodies and painted bodies. They wore deer skin that they had killed and had treated. They were small people. They were smaller in stature. They lived in communities that were led by a chief who watched over the group. The spiritual leaders in the Caddo tribe were the ones that conducted the ceremonies, whatever ceremonies there were. And they formed farmsteads, which were organized units of people. They called them farmsteads. The region, in this region, the French fur traders looked at the Caddo as friendly people and good trading partners. They were excellent farmers. They grew corn, they grew beans, much like the other tribes that we've heard before. They grew squash, watermelons, pumpkins, tobacco, and sunflowers. They hunted for game. They hunted birds, small game. They fished in the rivers and the streams. They gathered roots and seeds and berries for food. They used the bear oil that they had killed to trade, and they traded salt, and they traded skins, and they traded furs. They depended on the salt production for trade. They made bows and arrows, which was something unique, from Osage orange trees, which was a valuable trade item for the Caddo, along with the skins and furs and bear oil that they traded. The Quapaw, we're moving into the Quapaw. The Quapaw lived in the Delta region, which was close to the Arkansas Mississippi rivers where they meet together, which we're very familiar with that place. They were handsome and they were a friendly people. They were very friendly, especially to the explorers that came into Arkansas. They were tall people and they were very strong. They lived in villages that was built around a plaza. Their homes were longhouses, and longhouses were a long, narrow building that had an arched roof, and several of them lived together in these longhouses. The women's job was to take care of the children and prepare the food. They watched over the crops being grown. Um, the Caddo traded with the Europeans, and Arkansas got its name from the Quapaw, and by way of the French, the way they spelled it. It was always spelled differently. The word Quapaw means downstream people because they lived near the rivers. They were excellent farmers. They grew squash, corn, melons, pumpkin, beans, tobacco, gourds, and planted fruit that was imported by the Europeans, brought the fruit over. They traded with the French and Spanish on a regular basis. And the Quapaw men used the trees to make dugout canoes, which took a very, very long time to make. And then they traded them. They were hunters and fishermen.